Hey folks, it's Maxwell here and welcome to a brand new TW9 video. We are just 11 days away from All In and we still have a lot of programs to start. We still have people to debut to get them on that show, and try to cram this amount of people into 2 hours is absolutely mental because we have about 16 storylines running. There was stuff for this episode I wanted to put on it, but I didn't have the time, so hopefully they'll pop in Collision, and if it really comes to it we'll go to Shockwave. A few other wee things about the save. I put a poll up a long time ago. As I'm recording, it's still obviously going to run until I've actually physically booked All In, but it does seem like we will be just continuing on with storylines being written out. And every single show that I book on this save is going to be on YouTube rather than just the pay-per-view model we've used before. So that looks likely. I think that we're going to work it as well. I did say I was going to go brand split. I'm pretty confident we're going to go with that straight from after All In. I feel that's the best time to do it. I won't do like a special show, I'll just have it like, I'll randomly do it and we'll see who lines up where, and I'll book storylines from that. It's because the first event after it is Bola, which is just 2 tournaments, so that's fine. That's 32 of our best wrestlers, 16 male, 16 female, in a 2-night tournament, and that should probably take us to All Out, I believe. Oh no, Forbidden Door. So in theory, you've got quite a while, because if you classify Forbidden Door is going to be more your storylines of New Japan versus AEW versus CMLL versus Stardom. Hell, we might even bring up some people from Ring of Honor. Then you're really talking, you've got All Out, which is obviously September, so there is a very big window for us to establish the brands, who's going to be on Dynamite, who's going to be on Collision. Do I think about a third show because I've got so many goddamn workers? Because as much as we've got a lot of great workers, we do still think about the future. Our main event talents, the ones that are 40 plus are not going to be there forever, and we really need to start bringing people through. And because that's the thing, the upper mid card will become the main event. We still need a lower mid card to become a mid card as well, so that's something I've got to consider. But I think we'll maybe just start with the 2 brands, and then we'll have Dynamite alongside Rampage, we'll have Collision, we'll have Shockwave downgraded to a B show, and if we need that third show, we'll put it in at one point down the line. I think that's probably the best plan. But anyway, that is for the future. It is one of the most stacked rosters I've had, and there's still a lot of people I wish to poach from WWE. But the good thing is, once we get most people over that we want, then after that, it's just gung ho, get the company as big a size as possible, and try and get those 100 rated shows and 100 rated matches. Because I say, I want these achievements. That's the aim of the save. That's why it's not realistic, because we are achievement hunting. And of course, the stuff where it's like win shows at certain levels, that's fine. I'll make an alternative save that I can play offline just to have a bit of fun and get them ticked off as well. But it's the 2nd of July. It's time for Dynamite. Time for some surprises. Let's do it. So we're in the McCoy Stadium and we start straight off with a massive surprise. We have a Darby Allin promo. So Blood and Guts, I put it all on the line for Team AEW, and sadly we never came up on top. It wasn't one of the Death Riders who won the match, but ultimately we still failed. That pisses me off, but what also pisses me off is Sami Zayn running his mouth and blaming me for that defeat. So if you have a problem with me, Sami, say it to my face. So simple words there from Darby Allin calling out Sami Zayn, a bit of tension in Team AEW. Unsettling differences plays. Oh my god, is that? It is indeed. That's Kevin Steen making his AEW debut, and he cuts a little bit of a promo here. It's a hell of a long segment. Listen, Darby, if someone has a problem with Sami around here, that person is and always will be me. When I saw he had came here and the things he was doing, I knew I instantly had to get here at the first chance. So do me a favour, little boy, get to the back, heal up, and let the big boys take action. Darby takes offence to this. What the hell did you just call me? Then we have Sami come out to the top of the ramp going, whoa, 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 what the hell is this? I have an important match tonight with Jon Moxley, with the future of this company pretty much on the line. Yet here we go, Darby Allin wants to call me out, and hey Kev, hey, funny you decided to show up as well. Do you know what? To hell with this, I've got a match tonight, I haven't got time. So obviously, Darby's calling him out. Kevin Owens, now Kevin Steen again, is here to cause mayhem for his friend Sami, and a little bit of action towards Darby Allin. And that gave us a very good opening segment of 83, so already it's all down to our main event. But I think the way the shows have been going, I would quite like 2 top angles and probably 2 top matches as well, just to be safe of gaining good popularity. So Kevin debuts his badass gimmick, which was an initial rating of great. The true trio of war storyline has advanced. Kevin Steen improvised well. The Darby Allin angle idea was a success, and both KO, I need to get used to calling him Kevin Steen again, and Sami Zayn benefited from having a hot catchphrase. Our opening contest of the night was for the AEW International title, and in a decent matchup, Walter defeated Tomohiro Ishii in 17:23 with a knife edge chop. A third defence of the belt for Walter, 69 wrestling, 60 for the crowd, and a 69 segment overall. Ishii with a 65, and Walter with a 74. Walter picks up the great win over Ishii, and he retreats to the top of the ramp with his AEW International Championship, when out of nowhere from the back, Takeshita is there, and he hits, and basically has a lead pipe, and he takes that to the back of the knee of the champion, and he continues to hit him before he finally smacks him across the face with the pipe. Don Callis then shouts, "We don't need our A game All In because you won't be 100%. So a 68 segment here. This storyline advances and gains heat because it's low heat, and the storyline idea sadly was a failure. So that's a bit of a gutter for that. We then have a little promo here from Keith Lee, and he says it's been a long year, a mentally challenging, a physically challenging year. But whilst I fought the toughest battle away from the ring, that jerk, he fought it in the ring, he survived, and he prevailed. It's like a fire under me that continues to burn and burn, and it showed me if he can do it, then why can't I? So 1 week from Sunday, I defeat Swerve Strickland and I ascend up the ranks it should be, to win gold in this elite company. That's what happens when you write promos at 2 in the morning. 63 segment though, the storyline advances, which is good. Keith's getting better at his gimmick, and the storyline idea was deployed, which was a success as we get ready for Swerve versus Keith Lee. Next up, in a decent wild brawl, we had Malachi Black defeat Cash Wheeler in 11:40 with the Black Mass. So 63 wrestling's 55 crowd and a 64 for the segment. So all members of the House of Black have risen, and they have defeated FTR and Mark Briscoe in respective singles matches. I do believe in this instance, though, the wild brawl probably didn't suit either wrestler, but just with what we had in the card, it felt the best fitting, and the storyline advances, but does lose heat. Moving along, we have a quick promo from Mercedes Moné. Please say hello to your CEO and soon-to-be AEW Women's World Champion, Mercedes Moné. Now we'll keep this brief as Jamie's Hater's title reign, but All In, bank on me, because I will be walking out with that belt with the Moné Corporation on top. I was really pressed for time here. I think it's like a 3-minute promo for Lucky, just because there was so much on the show. But at 65, their storyline advances, and Mercedes' angle idea was a success. I was noticing I was getting a lot of ideas per show. I was getting I could do 3, and then people were coming with 2, so that was 5. And when you do so many shows, they were mounting up, so I'm trying to just get through as many as possible, but I think I'll try and use most of them on these shows. I think Rampage and Shockwave will more be for the ones that are kind of risky, and we can use that on lower card wrestlers, take that a wee bit more of a gamble. But I've got that many, I think I need to start using them, because I noticed there was a big difference between this and I'd done a TNA save and I was only getting 50, so it's I'm getting one idea a show compared to how many I'm getting here for the big roster. Next up, decent matchup. Cope has defeated Wardlow in 9:35 with the spear. He's changed the name in real life, so let's just go with it. 64 wrestling, 58 crowd, 66 segment. Pretty similar in terms of in-ring performances, but Cope, probably needs the win at this point. And then we announce it, a Collision is, Excalibur announces it for Collision. It's going to be a big grudge match from obviously the incident that happened quite a while ago now, and it's going to be a Rated R Superstar Cope versus Absolute Ricky Stark. So that's obviously taking place this coming Saturday, and yeah, interesting to see how it goes down. 62. Next up, we had a terrible wrestling match with non-existent crowd heat, with Hook defeating Arya Davari in 3:20 with the Red Rum. Storyteller matchup, just make Hook look like a beast in a 46 rated segment. Sadly, Hook was really off his game. I think he's going to be someone that's really going to benefit from the brand split, because he's kind of just kicking about. But then I have a promo from Switchblade Jay White. We are just 11 days away from a new era beginning here in AEW. We are just 11 days away from King Switch becoming the new AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Orange Cassidy, now you initially did make this company make it look like a mockery, but you've shown you are quite a decent wrestler. You're just not quite great like me. Now for Okada, everywhere I go, Okada-san seems to pop up as the top dog. It was the same in New Japan in that he's followed me here, but this will come to an end. This will be the end of your reign and the beginning of Switchblade running AEW. So just imagine Jay White saying that, and then because it's always noticeable Jay White did about 9 million things with his hands. Good job as this isn't to get a camera because I just done the whole thing during the promo there. The thing is, I actually like the way he loves a promo when he does that, but it's just very noticeable. Segment 77, the Then Now Forever storyline advances against Heat. Jay White's angle idea was a success as well. Obviously, I've been keeping our championship contenders obviously apart. I've been keeping them rested. But yeah, it's weird. It feels like it's. I don't know how you guys feel, but I feel like sometimes it's like meant to be my world title picture, and it just kind of gets shuffled to the back because it's like that's the storyline rather than tension or hatred in the others. Then we just have a little Orange Cassidy promo. Just says, "Nice Jay White, but you won't win. I will." So 75. I done this as work in the crowd to try and pop a good rating, but because I had Jay White off screen because he's talking about him, then this will like get 75. So hopefully it doesn't affect us too much. But we've had the good promo at the start, so I'd like to believe we'll be fine. Next up, a good wrestling match. Decent reaction from the crowd. The Young Bucks defeated Top Flight in 14:26 with a Meltzer driver, Nicholas Jackson pinning Darius Martin. Made it steal the show. We still need to build Dante up because obviously he's still way behind Darius, but anything for the Bucks is just spectacular at this point. 79, 48 and 88 for the segment. Get ready for your second debut though, and third. So would you look at that? Another convincing wins for your EVP's Top Flight. That flight's been grounded. Now you saw at Blood and Guts, the Time Splitters stepped up and they took the L. The question is who in their right mind is even on our level to battle us all in. Over the last decade, we've proven that we are the single best tag team around. Brothers who have shown around the world who we are with our multiple championship wins. There's no one from anywhere who has had that level of success. I have a little theme song called Feel Our Power. Is this the night of debuts or what is heading to the ring? It's Austin Creed and Kofi. Austin Creed then cuts a promo saying, now whilst we are not brothers, what me and Cove have went through, we pretty much are. However, look at the last decade to the championships, the accolades, the good times we had. It rivals you guys, but remember, over these years, we bumped into each other a lot, knowing that a match-up between us was very unlikely to happen due to a different course. Well, that is until now. And Kofi says, you see, myself and Austin have taken a gamble. We've chosen to bet on ourselves because we want to prove we are the best tag team of all time. That means, 1, winning the AEW tag titles. That also means winning the IWGP tag titles, the CMLL tag titles. But before we do that, we beat you. And when do we do that? At All In. So setting up whatever I'm going to call Kofi and Austin Creed as a tag team against the Young Bucks. Just because there was that stuff where obviously the three of them, well, they two and Omega and Creed and Kofi, and he was tricky to get because he's still not a cleared wrestler in this, but I'm looking forward. Hopefully I can book them better than I did in the last one. Austin, his gimmick was fun babyface, initial rating of great. Kofi power of positivity was adequate. Kofi didn't improvise well, but the Bucks and Austin Creed did because Matthew wants to use his creative power, not to be scripted, and the segment drew a 65. Not too bad. Promo's not the stuff. And our main event was about that had some great wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd as Sami Zayn does get the upset victory over John Moxley in 23-24 with a brainbuster following interference from Bryan Danielson. I was going to end a wee segment just obviously Mox looking at Bryan, but I think we'll just utilise our next couple of shows of getting Bryan to explain his actions and go from here. So the wrestling was an 80. The crowd rating was a 70, so they were into it. The segment was an 80. Sammy had an in-ring performance of 77. Moxley had one of 83. Bryan's final on storyline advanced at lost heat, even though he got an 80. Moxley's storyline idea was deployed and was a success. The creative finish was a success. And both Pac and Claudio Castagnoli have received morale boosts because of a successful storyline idea. So starting to implement these is having a positive effect. So obviously Bryan is back. We'll hear from him on a future show, whether that's Collision or next week's Dynamite. I'll see, because there's still a lot of big stuff to cover. We gain popularity in 36 regions and we have an overall rating of 79. I'd say that's quite fair. Maybe could have used maybe one more powerful angle. Maybe that 77 from Jay White to be a bit better, but two solid matches in our top main event stuff. And maybe the lower card is maybe a bit weak, but it's getting the storylines over, which is probably important at this point. So we'll finish the show. Locker room incidents, we have 0. So I will book Rampage, we'll cover Rampage, and then we'll move on to Collision. So moving on to Rampage from the McCoy Stadium, we have Nigel McGuinness in action as he defeats Rocky Romero in a 68 rated matchup. We then hear from Nigel, just basically talking about I think it's time for one last Nigel McGuinness run. I saw many of my peers go to the top. I feel good. Let's see where this journey takes us. That was a 62. Mina Shirakawa defeated Saru Inoi in a 67. With Jay Lethal defeat AR Fox in a 46. Some words from Sammy Guevara as he looks to rebuild in a 48 promo. We have some words backstage with Nick Wayne and AJ Styles, which was a 67. And our main event saw them in action against Private Party, which was a 73. So if they build them up, obviously Mentor and Protege. So pretty decent for Rampage, happy with that one. It's time for some Collision. So Collision, we start off with some action, I could say a grudge match, between Cope and Ricky Starks. And it was a decent matchup that saw Cope pick up the win in 11:39 with a spear. Pretty level in terms of in-ring performance, 62 wrestling at 58 crowd, and a 66 rated segment. This show, it's weird, it took me probably about a week to book it. I just never had a chance to get the time to write the angles out. But I'm hoping it's a good show because I feel like it's a lot of stuff that points us in that direction of All In. So we'll see where it goes because there's a big one coming up here. Adam Copeland has picked up the win over Ricky Starks, but then straight away after the bell goes, we have Wardlow, and he gives Starks a quick advantage because he's beating the crap out of Cope. Now Chris Jericho has came down and he evens the odds as he hits Wardlow with the Judas effect before nowhere, low blow, it's MJF. He stands tall above Cope and Chris Jericho alongside Ricky Starks and Wardlow. The 3v2 begins and Regal is on the ramp and he begins to laugh. He has that smirk that he has. Then we have a countdown on the screen. It's about to become instantly classic. Slowly down to the ring, steel chair in hand. It's Christian Cage. What the hell does he want? MJF speaks to Wardlow and Starks and they just retreat because they know, oh, what's this guy all about? We haven't spoken to him. Cage enters the ring. Cope gets to his feet. There's that feeling that Christian is going to smack Cope in the back, but he drops the chair and he nods to Cope. So, obviously we'll expand on that as time goes on before All In, but a 60 rated segment. William Regal performed poorly, Christian Cage came across well, the commentary lifted the segment, and after 3 segments, Christian Cage is babyface. Have I really? Well, that's a shame. I didn't think too many were shocks, you know what I mean? 3 segments maybe could have been built up a bit more. We've had some that have been like 15 or even more. But yeah, it's a shame. Turn compromised. Didn't get down particularly well. But yeah, Christian, babyface turn. Next up, in a poor matchup, we had Toni Storm defeat Harley Cameron in 601 with the Strong Zero. This was our weakest match of the night, so we made it storytelling. Overall, 49 wrestling and a 62 segment overall. Tony with a 66 to the 33 of Harley, so giving her some good momentum going forward. I know she's got the gimmick getting stale, but I still want to just probably get to All In, and then I'm going to start moving kind of character changes once we kind of go with the brand split going forward. Small promo from Tony afterwards. Last week I put on a marvellous winning performance against Anna Jay, a true masterpiece, which is going to lead me to my next award, that being the TBS Championship. So Athena, next week in your home state of Texas, watch out for the shoe. Because she can't put her chin up because she's small. But at 67, Storyline has advanced and Tony benefits from a hot catchphrase, so our best promo is a 67 so far. Also a 67 was a wild brawl that had some good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd, as FTR drew with the Kings of the Black Throne. Of course, that is Malachi Black and Brody King in 13:05 following a double disqualification. The wrestling was good, that was a solid 75, so that suited their styles. Obviously, you get the boost for the two of them being great chemistry and excellent chemistry in this situation. I feel like you're going to lose a few points because it is a double disqualification, and I don't think there was particularly great storyline heat, so that was why I would to go with this one. So I'm just going to double check. We got negative impact of the road agent's notes being, so that probably would tell me that they don't suit a wild brawl. I know Cash and Dax wouldn't, but straight up Brody King's alley, to be honest. But hey, continues that storyline ahead of the trios match at All In. Well, this is a bit worrying. I thought this promo would do well. So we've got Walter talking about the attack that he had from Takeshita, so he's not in the arena. And he says, I think my brief time here in AEW has shown what an elite talent I am. If people support me, great. I'm going to pay that back in the ring with some of the best matches I can have. Now at the moment, after that attack from Takeshita, I'm of course not 100%, but I will do everything I can to be as close to that as I can be. I'm going to put on a spectacular match All In, raise the prestige of this championship, and of course put Takeshita through as much pain as possible. So a 56 segment, cutting words on obviously Don Callis as well and Takeshita. The storyline advances, gains heat. The storyline idea was deployed and was a success. Waller improvised well, just disappointed only a 56. But yeah, that rematch should be a banger. Moving forward, a decent matchup here. Nick Wayne defeats Shelton Benjamin in 9:21 with a surprise roll-up. I made this one my Steal the Show matchup. So obviously the feud we've got going at the moment is the Hurt Syndicate against Nick Wayne and AJ Styles. And yeah, pretty decent stuff here. 63 overall. Nick Wayne was 67 to Shelton's 61. I think again, there wasn't great heat, which is why I wanted this in here. But most of the negatives are for a physical situation of Shelton, which is a shame because the guy is an absolute freak athlete. We then had a recap video for the debut of Kevin Steen in AEW, so just thought, I feel like if it was realistic, AEW would obviously be like, oh my god, Kevin Steen debuted, you've got to see more of this, so we play the segment again. 4 minutes, sadly only get a 58, and the true trio of our storyline advances, but lost heat. We're not doing very well in terms of promos, so we may see a pop loss here. Next up was a decent matchup as the Bastard Pack defeated Christopher Daniels in 8:14 with the Black Arrow. This one had 64 wrestling, 51 crowd, and a 68 segment. I just feel like the Bastard needs a bit of positive momentum, and this was a good opponent for him, as you can tell by Pac's in-ring performance being a lot better, so stylistically it works, and it gets some positive momentum out of it. Next up, decent wild brawl for the TNT Championship as Rush defeated Max Caster in 7:49 with the Rush Driver. This was a 6th defence of the belt. I felt like, again, having that wild brawl here just suits Rush to a T. I could just showcase that he's beating the crap out of Caster. I think they had an instant backstage before the show, which is why I put this together, that's right. He was antagonising them and Rush was the happy. So 64 for the wrestling, 70 for the segment overall. Good stuff. It puts Rush in a good position for All In. Then I have some words from Jake Roberts speaking on behalf of Rush. Just says 21 guys in this casino gauntlet match, huh? This makes me laugh. It's just 21 guys fighting to become the victim to this man. One survives to be slaughtered shortly afterwards. And then we just get the usual Rush, you mess with the bull, you get the horns. And that is a 59 rated segment. And our main event was about that had some good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd as Kenny Omega defeats Kyle O'Reilly in 22:02 with the V-Trigger, giving Kenny his 10th defence of the Continental Championship. So a 79 for the wrestling, 62 for the crowd, 83 for the segment as a whole. These two had great chemistry together, which boosted Kenny's performance to an 87 and Kyle's to a 70. Kenny also has a gimmick that's getting stale, so that's something we can work on from All In. We need a banger main segment. Let's hope this one does it. It's a 3-parter, so I'm a wee bit concerned. And it only gets a 68, so I'm thinking we're probably losing pop here. But let's clarify what's happened. So Kenny Omega picks up a great win over Kyle O'Reilly. He celebrates And post-match he goes to offer a handshake to Kyle O'Reilly. However, we hear the theme song, Undisputed. It's Adam Cole. And he's got a microphone, so he's got a few words to say. Kenny, Kyle, well, I'm sorry to interrupt this wonderful moment. There's just a few things that I've got to get off my chest. You see, I have a bone to pick with you, Kenny Omega. You forget when we were in the hospital. When you were in the hospital, who else was out at that point? Yeah, that's right. All that time on the shelf. Oh, sorry, that's right, me. All that time on the shelf, no one. Not one. How are you, bud? How's the recovery? I got updates from Nick, from Matt, but nothing from you, and that tells me that you're nothing but a selfish prick. Kyle then hits Kenny in the back with a chop block to the back of the knee, which then leads to Cole running and hitting the boom on Kenny Omega. He gets the mic again and says, so Kenny, what am I doing All In? I'm taking that AEW Continental Championship away from you. So basically our build up to Kenny Omega, Adam Cole Continental Championship at All In. 75 for the first segment, 68 and then a 60. Because obviously we had the nice moment between Ken and Kyle. We then had the promo from Adam Cole, and then we had the beatdown. So Kenny gets stale, we know about. Ignore the Elite storyline, it begins. And overall, do you know, I'll take that. Forgetting we're only in the States, really, so we don't. I feel if we were a bit further afield, it would have been a bit poorer. But yeah, that match saved us. In terms of ratings, I don't think it's a particularly great collision, but I feel like it's got a lot of stuff moving towards All In. And the only negatives there, obviously, growth restrictions and Kyle O'Reilly being used too much. But yeah, pretty happy with that one. Any locker room instance before I go into Shockwave? Absolutely none. So let's get to Shockwave. So it's time for the quick 90-minute show that is Shockwave. And that attendance for that taping of that in Collision was just under 7,000, so not so bad. So in this one, it was about had some subpar wrestling and little heat. Keith Lee defeats GD Drake in 9:28 with a Spirit Bomb. This was our storytelling match of the evening to start the show. Keith Lee with 46 is a bit worrying. A 53 for JD Drake. Keith Lee again was rusty. So it's weird, like, a couple of matches he wasn't rusty. This one he is obviously come out he has. We've got a week to make sure he's really ready for that matchup against Swerve, so expect a lot of Keith Lee on next week's shows. But 52 overall. Again, just getting some positive momentum for Keith Lee. After this one, we have some words from Swerve Strickland just saying, oh, Keith, looking a little bit tired there. Are you sure you're going to be able to hang with me when it comes to the pay-per-view, when it comes to All In? I don't think you've got what it takes anymore. And then that usual Swerve kind of laugh. So a 61 for that. Storyline advances, lost heat. But from that, you've got the hot catchphrase of Swerve. His performance just generally being pretty good as well. Obviously, it's going to take a while for Keith Lee to get to Swerve's level. Then I had a quick segment with Hook. Because he's got the silent type in this, I don't know what the actual wording of it is, but basically he won't do any promos. But just this was him declaring for the Casino Gauntlet match, All In. That was at 57. Moving along, this probably could have main evented with 80, but instead it was in the middle of the show. Bout had some good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd as Konosuke Takeshita defeats Commander in 11:50 with a javelin kick. 79 for the wrestling, 52 for the crowd, and an 80 for the segment. Takeshita bringing a very impressive 89. After it, he cuts a promo. He apparently has very good English in this one, so just him hyping up this match off with Walter, just basically saying he's going to demolish him and take back his championship, the international title. 69, and the storyline advances and gains heat. Remember, all Shockwaves, I don't write out the angles for this because it's only 90 minutes, and half the time it's filler, but because I've got 16 storylines to go over, anything that was a little cold in terms of storyline has got an angle tonight or a match tonight. Next up, we basically had Athena saying that her friend, her ally, Billy Starks, is coming tonight on Shockwave, and she will be taking on Toni Storm to get the upper hand on her. So that was a 50. The storyline advances for the TBS Championship, but lost heat. And that matchup was decent. Toni Storm defeats Billy Starks in 9:43 with a strong 0. 72 for Toni, 61 for Billy, and a 69 overall. I done basically like a massive sim in the January data, just to see kind of what happened. I got to like 2030 just and I was playing other games. Billy Starks turns out very, very good, so expect to see a lot of Billy in the future. Although it would probably be a case of the AI's development probably better than mine. Next up, we had a little segment with Chris Jericho and Quote. They were basically discussing the actions of Christian Cage. They're like, have you heard from him? What's the script? Has he turned a new leaf? They don't know at this moment in time. They haven't heard from him. And that is a 70 rated segment. We had a decent whale brawl that saw Cash Wheeler defeat Buddy Matthews in 12:05 with the unskinny bop. This storyline advances again but doesn't gain heat. It's a very cold storyline despite them constantly having different matches between the House of Black and FTR and Mark Briscoe. But that is a 68 overall for the win for Cash Wheeler, because I feel like the House of Black were getting too many wins in that feud. Then a little segment backstage basically discussing the future plans for the Hurt Syndicate. It's pretty much going to be MVP in the corner of Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin taking on AJ Styles and Nick Wayne. But they say TNT Championship, that sounds good for Powerhouse Hobbs, as he'll be entered in the 21-man Gauntlet Casino Battle Royal. Remember, it's a case of if I can get the match to work, it'll be 21 men. If it isn't, it's 20, and I'll just remove Ishii from my initial plans of entering it. So 60, Shelton underperformed, Bobby Lashley was good. Main event was pretty okay. I have got Shun Skywalker and an exclusive written deal to Ring of Honor, but I thought he could be someone that could give a good match to Ospreay, and yeah, it wouldn't tank too much, but both had some great wrestling and not a lot of heat as Ospreay defeats Shun Skywalker in 13:35 with a hidden blade. I made it steal the show as well. 87 and 74 is pretty good because obviously Shun's more got the ability rather than the popularity. 81 wrestling, 46 crowd, 78 segment. We need a good strong Ospreay promo though. We don't really get it, and I forgot to add Hangman to it, so that's a pain because that means it's only a 72 and we don't increase the feud between Hangman and Ospreay, which seems to be a little cold, so we'll touch on that a lot going forward. It's definitely going to be like a 74 rated show here, and definitely a loss of... Oh! We didn't lose Pop anywhere. We actually gained in European nations, which is fair enough. That's in places out with America. But I was pretty much convinced we were going to lose Pop in America. So, yeah, that's a nice surprise. But, yeah, 24 regions we gained Pop, and obviously the storylines weren't dramatic. It was only really Wheeler versus Matthews. But a lot of stuff did progress, just more so from promos. So financial report, we gain 9 million because of our broadcast revenue. We don't quite have Collision on our network just yet. I think I'll probably get that eventually, but as I say, any money as soon as we go over 100 million just goes straight towards improving our network. And you can see the popularity, nothing in the UK, nothing in Oceania, but mostly India, Europe, Japan, Mexico. So that's encouraging we got Mexico out of those nations. So we'll cut back to the main screen, but we're in a position, I think, like maybe 13 of the 16 storylines are like over. They're in a good place. It's tricky managing 16 storylines, and I think it will be easier when we go to a brand split because it'll probably still be the same amount. But because, you know, we've got 8 storylines for these shows and 8 storylines for those shows, it might make it a little bit easier. But we'll see. I'm pretty convinced that Shockwave will go to a B show, but we'll see. Anyway, news items here. Bit of bonding there between Roxanne Perez and Grayson Waller. An argument between Derek Sanders and Finn Balor. There's a lot of bonding going on here. Andre Chase with Petey Williams and Santos Escobar and Ilya Dragunov. CM Punk wins the 2025 Money in the Bank briefcase. I mean, I don't think he'd really need it, but he wins it anyway. And Randy Orton retains his championship, as does Drew McIntyre. There you go. Collision, enjoyed the show. Shockwave, people enjoyed the show. That's all we can really ask for. Anything else here that directly affects us? Not that I can see. We'll confirm the renewal of Sonjay Dutt. We're going to bring in Nixon No just to give us another female on the roster. Ishii, 30 days in the contract. He's actually retiring soon. When is it? 25 days. So it would be a shame if he missed all in, but crazy that Ishii will be retiring very soon. Orange Cassidy, it says that Tony Storm is a natural talker, and Taz is building a clique as he has formed an alliance between Powerhouse, Hobbs and Hook. Don't mind that. But aye, we are 1 week away, 1 week to the end game that will be All In. So the next week of shows, next episode will basically cover everything in the build up. And we'll run down the full card, all 16 matches I think it is. And yeah, we'll have an absolutely stacked show for All In. I'll make it as long as possible so I can give all the matches all the time in the world. But as always, thank you very much for watching, it's much appreciated. I think I've done this week in the game in the space of about 2 weeks in real life, so if things were out of tune, that's probably why. But hopefully we can book the next bit pretty solidly and go from there. So thanks for watching, wee thumbs up appreciated. Can't mind if I mentioned that, but as always check out Fansbooker subreddit, Grey Dog Software forums, twdb.com and bethebooker.net, and I shall catch you next time. Bye bye.